Yo, what's poppin' everybody? This is Cerebral54, and I'm gonna show you guys the Metagross Gx deck profile that I've used and expanded recently. I posted a couple of games loosely, and I thought, hey, you know what? Might as well show the deck list too. Maybe I'll use it even more. I was hesitant to kind of show it because this deck isn't all that great. It's kind of good depending on the deck it plays. Some decks it's just very good against, but most of the popular decks, the alternate Crossmat GX, Arceus decks, Garbodor decks, and expanded Arceus decks in general, and just faster decks, they can pose problems. It's just too slow to compete with them. So the main Pokemon, of course, is going to be this Metagross GX here. GX Stage 2 from Guardians Rising. Good stuff. I really like this Pokemon, but it is kind of feeling the power creep, even though it's not too old. I mean, it's a Stage 2 GX. So 250 HP, 3 retreat, psychic resistance, fire weakness, a pretty typical stats of a Stage 2. He's a big guy, and he'll usually be able to take a hit, especially if you combine it with the frying pan tool, which we'll look at later. So since this guy's going to take a hit, naturally what you want to do is, a great thing you can do is heal him up, and just try and use him as a tank. And this is what he allows us to do with Geotech system. Once during your turn before you attack, you can search your discard pile for a psychic or a metal energy and attach it to your active Pokemon. So this is like the Dynamotor ability, energy acceleration from the discard pile, but it goes to the active position as opposed to the bench. And this is actually stronger. It's much more useful than when you get it on the bench. So Giga Hammer, this guy's attack does 150 for 3, and you can attack, or you can use Giga Hammer during your next turn. So 150, it's a good little chunk. It's not going to get any one-hit knockouts, no matter what you try. In the past, you could use like Choice Band, you could use a few of the Delmices, and he would be in that like 200 range. You can try and get some one-hit KOs. But right now, it's not even worth it to try. It's just better to try and be defensive, heal up, and just get, two-hit KOs on Pokemon. And when it comes to two-hit KOs, he can still get the job done. 150 plus 150, 300. Unless your opponent does something like heal or switch, he will be able to take care of a big tag team GXs. Maybe not so much the VMAX Pokemon, but it is what it is. So that's his attack. And then his other attack, Algorithm GX. You spend your GX attack to do this, but you can search your deck for up to 5 cards, put all of them into your hand. So this can be pretty handy, and from this guy's, 3 energy, decent attack, algorithm, his ability, his HP, this guy screams slow, tank, set up Pokemon, take your time, make your plays, and just control the game. This is what this guy pretty much screams. Now, the combo with this guy when it came out was basically you used to use the Solgaleo GX, but you can do this with this guy as well. You attack, you use Giga Hammer, and then you retreat, discard the 3 energy, promote another one you get out, heal, use the max potion, heal the damage on the previous one, and then attack with the other one. Then once the other one gets hurt, retreat once again, attach all of the energies using these guys, and then use max potion on the other dude that's hurt. So this is what essentially we're going to try and do with this deck. Just get plenty of these Metagross GXs out, 2 to 3, and just hit our opponent while we heal and just shrug off damage. Now the line is going to be pretty simple. You max out the Beldums. There's quite a few choices for Beldum in the expanded format, but I like this one because it has 70 HP, the strongest one. There's like one most people would prefer, the 60 HP one, which has free retreat if you have a bunch of other ones out, but you need quite a few. It's not like the Magnemite where he starts at 1 retreat. So I like this guy better. But it's up to your preference if you want to run the 60 HP one. We run 1 Met Tank 2 for our Stage 1. Not a lot of great choices for this guy. The same with Beldum. But this one with Bullet Punch, at least it can maybe do quite a few damage if you get a few heads for 1 energy. So that's why I run this guy. Now, for other support Pokemon, this guy's going to be the main attacker pretty much. We're not trying any fancy stuff. Uh, we've got the Jirachis, metal Pokemon. If we start with it, it can use Stutter Wish and help us set up. It makes a lot of sense to use in a slow deck like this. I'm running a bunch of switches and stuff anyway, so why not? You really just want to make use of one in the beginning if you can. You normally don't want to bench two of them down most of the time, but we run two. And I've got the Registeel 2 as another good opening Pokemon. This is our offensive dude. I guess if I open with this guy, I can start using Turbo Arm, hit for 30 and grab an energy. It works out too in this deck because we do want to dump metal energies as it is. We're going to dump a few to make use of Geotech systems. So this guy's good. Just a nice little basic Pokemon with 130 HP. The really big guy is Solgaleo here. This is a Prism Metal Pokemon. It makes sense to run this guy. 160 HP, Corona Impact can't be handy. And with a Radiant Star, you can just power up a bunch of your Pokemon immediately if you use this at the right time. So just another good little opening Pokemon. If worse comes to worse, he can just take a hit or two as we're setting up. Because you will need a few turns to set up with this deck. It's just how it is. Sometimes, if you're really fortunate, you can get like 2 Metagross GXs in one turn, like really quickly. But you might need maybe more than that. Okay. I do have the 1 Delmise too, because that 10 extra we can get could be something. I mean, it makes this guy's Corona Impact 170. It makes this guy hit for 40 for 1. Makes this guy hit for 160. I mean, you never know. Maybe it can be handy. It can certainly help with getting 2-hit KOs on some 320 HP VMAX Pokemon, or just help you set up KOs. It's kind of good, so that's why I still run 1. And we do have a Psychic Energy. We can even make use of Anchor Shot. Prevent our opponent from retreating. You never know. Hit for weakness, Psychic Pokemon. Since I can get Psychic Energies with this guy too, it just makes sense to have it as a little tech. Alright. Now the only other Pokemon, I guess, besides the Dene, which is it's here to draw cards. This used to be Tapu Lele GX, but now with the new rules, I just feel like the Dene GX is almost superior in every way. Because we can use this first turn 1, dump our hand and draw, so it's good. Since you're running the Cherish Balls, might as well run at least one of these. Now the only other attacker is the Cramorant V. It won't be easy to power this guy up, but if you get the Metagross GXs out, then it's possible. It gives us that spit shot, a snipe for 160 and discard everything. Big V Pokemon, you know, why not run it? You never know when you're going to need this kind of effect. It just works with any energy, so it's great. So, pretty simple deck, favoring consistency for the most part. So, the ace pick of choice, since this is expanded, is going to be the computer search. Discard outlet, plus it allows me to get any card to boost our consistency. You can do dowsing machine if you like, but I truly feel like computer search is the way to go in this deck. Goes with the theme of the supercomputer Metagross Gx. I don't know if you guys know, but the trivia is that this guy is has the brain of 4 supercomputers, or something like that. I remember. Anyway, we have a few balls for our consistency. You got the 1 Nest Ball as your generic, search anything. 1 Cherish Ball. This can search out Metagross Gx and search out Dedenne too. So it's pretty good. And then I run 1 Heavy Ball too. This can search both the Beldums, another reason why I run this one. And we can search Metagross, can search this guy, this guy. It's just a really flexible searcher. So this is why I do 1, 1, and 1. You can do more Cherish Balls if you like. You can do more Heavy Balls. You can do just all Nest Balls. It's up to you, but having it like this gives me the most versatility. Sometimes you'll wish you had like a second of Nest Ball or another Cherish Ball or what have you. But just being versatile is what I like, with these balls. So that's why we run 1 of each. Uh, Got a little bit of energy searching too. One Professor's Letter, just one. Space is quite an issue for this deck because it kind of plays like a Rails in a way, you know, a lot of similar cards. But since this guy is a stage 2, you do need to run the rare candies. You do run the max potions as well. So only got space of 1. It should be enough. Rare candies, like I mentioned, you gotta max these out. Get this guy out quick. The max potions is a core part of this deck, so might as well just get over this. Use this, heal all the damage. It's part of our combo. It's pretty standard. I wish I could run more, but you know, it's the space, like I've said. You run 2. You don't want to discard this if you can. If you can help it, don't discard them. Just save them, use them at the right time. And depending on how you play the game, depending on just how back and forth you and your opponent goes, 2 should be enough to give you the advantage you need. You know, essentially making your opponent's big turns of attacking useless is what this card does. Alright, right. Got some typical text here like the Rescue Stretcher to get back Pokemon. You can use something like the Super Rod or Ordinary Rod. But I like this because we don't really want to put energies back in the deck, just mostly Pokemon, and this gives us the chance to get the stuff in hand too. 1 Megaphone and 1 Field Blower. Just tool removal, it's necessary, especially in Expanded, especially with Alternate Cosma, Garbodor decks, you know, those kinds of decks being so popular. It's crazy. So they're very important. And Ability Lock does screw this deck up big time, so you want this as a little out for Garbodor. Okay, we got 2 switches. Normally, you're not too worried about switching. I mean, you are a little bit. This is why I have these cards here. But remember, you do have to sort of retreat the old-fashioned way to discard the energies and then get them back again with this guy's ability. So you don't necessarily want to use switch on this guy, with a few exceptions. But this is for Jirachi, of course. This can be for when they try and get maybe this guy stuck or is there somebody else stuck. It's good to have it around in this sort of a deck. 2 copies. But do remember that unless you have like billions of metal energies in the discard pile, you will need to retreat the regular way, so you discard them and then you can grab them back. Okay. I got 1 Ultra Ball too. I almost forgot about this. This is just another ball that can just get me absolutely anything, and it's a discarding outlet too. So just 1. It's really versatile. It's really flexible. Discard outlet. You can get a basic if you want. You can get your stage 2 if you want. You can get like even this guy because you can't use Cherish Ball to search him. Just a good card. Just 1 copy. It's like an A-spec in a way, like the computer search for Pokemon. So it's good. 1 Trainer's Mail, just more consistency boosting. Great card. And that's basically it for the items. We got the Metal Frying Pan too. Now, this is extremely important, much more important than Choice Band. For one, you're not going to get big one-hit knockouts anyway, so you would much rather block damage than try and just go for one-hit KOs. Obviously, if you can get one-hit KOs, it's pretty sweet. But this card is much better. It helps Metagross Gx tank, even with that 250 HP. There's Pokemon that can kill him, so this makes it much more difficult. And even more important, it eliminates your fire weakness, and that is incredibly useful. Otherwise, this deck just instantly loses to fire. Reshiram will instantly kill this guy. So, Metal Frying Pan, very important. You gotta run it as the tool in this deck, in my opinion. Once again, I just have 2. Would like to have like 3 at least, but we can't afford that with the space. And then all that's left is the stadium and the supporters. Ultra of the Sun also helps with the weakness. It's the stadium of choice in this deck. Just a counter stadium and just to get rid of your metal weakness too. Just a good card to run. If you have something like, I don't know, Tropical Beach, it would work well in this deck. I don't have that. or just some other stadiums if you want, like, I don't know. I wouldn't recommend Viridian Forest, but you can try it if you want. You can try, what else would be good in here? My Coronet wouldn't be good, but I think Ultra of the Sun is the best one. Since we don't have like a Metal Prism Stadium, we're probably not going to get one by this point. But that's pretty much it. And then for the supporters, we do have our typical stuff, the 3 Juniper, discarding, outlet, mass draw, 1 N, 1 Skyla, the 1 Chorus, and then 2 Cynthia. Got Lysander too. If you really want, you can put Guzma. Guzma is probably better in this deck. Like, I've come to find out there's a lot of times where Guzma would have saved my ass if I had that. But I'm just an asshat that likes to run Lysander. In other decks, I do use Guzma, like in my Gengar deck. Here, I feel like I still perhaps like Guzma more. But, I mean, yeah, especially because we don't have like free retreating dudes or like Floatstone. So perhaps Lysander is still the safer option, but naturally you can use Guzma too. And then the last supporter is this Jasmine. So this card, I mean, I don't want to say it got affected by the rules because clearly it didn't. But if your opponent forces you to play first when you just want to go second, then you kind of lose the plus no matter what. But what Jasmine does is, if you go second and it's your first turn, you can get any 5 metal Pokemon and then put them into your hand, which is pretty insane. You can instantly get all of your Beldums, set them up, get stuff like Jirachi, this guy, get your stage 2s even, to help evolve them into the next turn if you have Candy. It's just a really good card if you get to play second. If you don't, then it's just search your deck for a metal Pokemon, put it into your hand. So it's good. It's like a costless sort of like Cherish Ball or Heavy Ball. I mean, with Heavy Ball and Expanded, it's kind of redundant if you can only get one, because Heavy Ball would be able to get you any metal Pokemon anyway, besides Jirachi, which you normally would never search with this. But if you do get to play second, then that searching is great. Like if you see this with computer search or somehow manage to reveal it with Jirachi or Trainer's Mail, it's pretty great. Worst comes to worst, it can still search you out of Metagross Gx, so you never know when it can be good. I kind of like it. It's Jasmine too, so goes with the metal theme here. Indeed. I almost forgot about the VS Seeker, but you do run 2 VS Seeker. You can reuse your ends. That's why 1 is okay for me. And Lysander especially. You get to reuse these. Get to reuse Chorus too. Good stuff. And then the energies is just 11 energies, 10 of which are metal, and just 1 psychic for the off chance you use this. This guy can use metal energy. This guy can use psychic energy too. Blah. So it's alright. That 1 isn't going to hurt you too much. This guy can use it. Even this guy can search it out with Turbo Arm. So you don't worry too much. Only this guy doesn't like it. But yeah, this is the deck, guys. It's really enjoyable. I like using it. I really like this Metagross GX card and just Metagross in general. I wish it was a little better, but at the same time, Guardians Rising didn't came out yesterday. Your bad matchups would be matchups with Ability Lock. Item Lock can be pretty bad too if your opponent gets that early and you have trouble evolving into this guy. Fire can be a problem, but to be honest, we do have ways to deal with it. Like this and this are some good options. Decks you are good against, any sort of peon deck that just wants to hit quick and just, does a solid amount of damage, but not really big chunks of damage, that gets one-hit knockouts. This guy doesn't care. You can use Max Potion. So against peon decks, you're good. Stuff like Lost March even, Night March, Vespi Queen, these kinds of decks, they could pose a threat, but unless you get really unlucky, Metagross should be good against them. So that's nice. Any fairy decks this guy can hit for weakness, they're going to really hate him. So that's another good matchup, I suppose. Um, and yeah, just most other decks should be pretty fair, like 50-50, like if you get a good setup going. So it's pretty nice. I mean, his ability is good. Right. So this is the deck, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed this deck. If you want to know the list, now you do. Hope you guys subscribe to the channel, leave a like, share this video with your friends. I've been Sabro94, and we'll say